When I say a useless character, like, I don't think I've actually specifically used those words before. A useless character. She is pointless. She is so useless. So pointless. Like, legit, I am not exaggerating. She is so pointless. Okay, so I feel like what's happening right now is at least two different things. One, like I told my sister, it feels like my body is trying to process something, but exactly what it is that it's trying to process, I don't know. Because my body is really bad at processing things. It's first and foremost processing is to avoid it, and in order to avoid it, I cram everything else I can find in on top of it in order to bury it, and that leaves me ridiculously suffocated under all kinds of stuff, usually stories. So I end up with things like, for instance, watching three different dramas all at the same time kind of thing. And it gets, yeah, suffocating. And the other thing I think is also happening at the same time is that, like, it's hard to stimulate people with ADHD. Like, regular people, they get happy about stuff and then they get excited about stuff and then they get super excited about stuff. Whereas ADHD people, it's basically go from nothing to overstimulated super fast because it's hard to get us stimulated. By the time we're stimulated, we're already almost overstimulated. So, like, if I watch a really good drama, for instance, it feels like the next 5 dramas I watch after it are all flunks, and I'm like, how? How does this always happen to me? It's the same with books, it's the same with songs, it's the same with whatever. If I find something that I enjoy so much, it ends, and I'm like, there's no such thing as good stories left in the world because everything I try after that is a failure. So I think both of these are happening at the same time. And, like, I feel like I'm in the middle of stuff that I can't do any faster, and I need to get it done because I can't do stuff when I'm in the middle of stuff. Or if I do start something new, then I'll never finish what it was that I was supposed to be finishing. For instance, the whole Alchemy of Souls things that I was doing, I was technically so close to being done that, and yet I pushed and pushed and pushed myself to get as much out as I could, and then I left the story part of it just hanging for like 4 months, and I finally just finished the good part of the story, and really, mostly it's just me saying what my favorite scenes are, and then there's still the not so well done part to do, which is going to take another like half hour, and I still haven't rewatched the second season in order to film what I feel about that, and there's really a couple of comments that I really, really want to say, but they're like spoilers, and if I just haphazardly drop them now, then I really am never going to get to the second season. Like, by this point, I need to wait long enough that I can actually enjoy it while watching it, and I'm not just watching it to watch it. Otherwise, it'll be no good. You have to be able to enjoy it while I'm doing it. So I'm like, in the middle of that. And then everybody got me insanely excited about Final Fantasy, because I was all excited to talk about it, and I filmed like basically an introduction video, and I cannot believe how much attention that thing got, and then where'd they all go? I started uploading the actual Final Fantasy videos, and basically nobody's watching them. And my sister, for the first time ever, is helping me edit videos, and she is putting so much work into this, and basically nobody has watched the videos, and I'm like, now I feel bad after all the work she put into it. We got excited and talked about this because we love the Final Fantasy series. I love analyzing stories. I love analyzing characters. It's so much fun to me to get all into it and do it and pick it apart and talk about it. And like stuff that I love. I love talking about stuff that I love, right? And all of this stuff together. And then add on top of that me doing it with my sister. Because we can go on and on and on and on and on and on and on when we talk. And then like nobody's watching it. And I'm like, where did all those people from that one video go? I don't understand what happened. This is weird. And I don't know if it has anything to do with the fact that my entire channel currently has a strike against it. I believe it's a completely unfair takedown because there was no copyright infringement involved. I'm convinced there's not. You can't call that copyright infringement. It was pictures. There was no video. It was pictures. And they're going to claim a copyright, and my whole channel has been struck. And so I don't know. all the ins and outs of it. I haven't looked into it to find out if that means my channel is kind of sort of shadow banned at the moment or something, so barely anybody's finding it, except that for some reason all of a sudden everybody is finding my Impossible Errors video 1, although analytics on that makes it look like they're kind of just hovering over it, not watching it, so now it claims it has like over 100 views, and I highly doubt it has more than about 30 actual views, if it even has that many. I hate the view count thing on YouTube right now. I don't trust it in the slightest. It is not a view if somebody watched less than 10% of the video. Even if it was 10% of the video, I don't know if I'd even count that as a view. So most of my videos, no matter how many views they claim they have, they actually don't have more than probably maybe 3 views. Which is a little insane to me when my channel supposedly has 370, however many subscribers I have. And my videos get probably on average 2 actual views. Who knows? Anyway, rambling later to get all things off my chest. I figured this whole thing could maybe be a rambling thing, because if my body is trying to process something right now, whatever it is that's trying to process, I don't know. Can't really talk about real life stuff because it basically anything that's happening involves other people's privacy as well. And whatever, it's just safer not to talk about most of that. And books, nobody that watches my channel has any interest whatsoever in the books, clearly, because anytime I mention books in the titles of my videos or in the description of my videos, those ones often get like 1 to 0 views. So clearly nobody cares about books, so there's no point in talking about the books. So let's talk about the dramas. How about I just do a quick rundown of the dramas that I've finished and a quick rundown of the ones that I've dropped, and just do like a run over flyby short version. This book is like the short version. This book is like the long version. And see if any of that helps in the slightest. So, going back to July 2nd and 3rd of this year, I watched The Killer Inside. Also known as Shinai Naru Boku wa Satsui wo Komete. You know what? It's really, really, really annoying how all of the websites you go to online that tell you about dramas, none of them, or barely any of them, they don't translate the Japanese titles. They translate Korean titles, or whatever the word is for, like, I guess in a lot of Korean titles it sounds like they probably, like, it's a different name in English. But either way, it has a Korean name and it has an English name. And in Chinese, whether it's a translation of the same thing, it has Chinese names and it has English names. They translate them. They give me something English for them. But the Japanese, they regularly, like 90% of the time, they don't. So I end up with this really weird, what the crap, they don't even leave it in the original language. They Romanize it, so I'm like, what is this drama? I go to look up an actor or an actress that I know that I've seen in something before, and I'm looking at their list going, you know what, I know quite a bit of Japanese. I understand quite a bit of Japanese. And yet at the same time, I look at that and I'm like, this is a chaotic mess. It is so annoying. And then, like, yeah, I get to know it by a certain name, and then I try to go and look it up and stuff, and I can't find it because nobody else calls it that, and whatnot. Either way, The Killer Inside, Yamada Ryosuke. I've seen him on tons and tons of stuff. I'm sitting where I shouldn't be. I'm supposed to be sitting on this side so that I can, that's the whole point, is so that I can put pictures and whatnot over here so you can see it. Yamada Ryosuke. The interesting thing about him is that he comes from a J-pop group that one of the times that I was in Japan, I went to a play, so I didn't meet any of them, but I was within a few feet of some of them, and I watched him do a balancing trick on basically balancing beams above our heads, and this kind of stuff, so that was pretty cool. Either way, he plays the main character in this one, and the short version, like, this is one that deals with DID. They make the claim on this drama that they consulted with several different experts I don't know if they're experts on DID or experts on mental health or what exactly. They make the claim that they consulted with them, and I'm like, but how educated were these experts they consulted? Because some of the stuff I think is realistic, and I'm not just talking about the DID here. I'm talking about all of the mental disorders. Just a second here, and I'll read what I said. Some of it seems to be accurate, some of it seems to be at least plausible, and some of it I'm like, I don't think you know as much about that as you're claiming to know about that as an expert, because that doesn't seem right. What I wrote was, there is basically so much that could be said, it's almost safer to say nothing. I think the main problem of this drama, or since this drama is adapted from a manga series, was it the original author that did this? How long was the series? I'd like to know. How faithful was the adaptation? I'd like to know. So was it the drama that did this, or was it the manga that did this? The main problem, I think, that this drama had was them trying to cram too many mental disorders into one story. Especially when the story was this short. There are only 9 episodes in this drama. String the worst choices by far too many people into like one story. It's not exactly convoluted. It's just too much. Way too much. I liked the ending though. The main girl says, after all, you saved me too. And I'm like, it's about time she acknowledged him. Oh, but no, I still think it is way too unrealistic to say that a 7-year-old has dedicated his life to revenge, i.e. to kill the person that framed his dad. A 7-year-old? I don't think so. 7-year-olds, I don't care if you're an ulcer or if you're a single personality, that's not how 7-year-olds function. To dedicate their life to revenge, to dedicate their life to hunting down and killing a person that framed their father, I don't think so. So yeah, this was an interesting story. I wasn't exactly positive how many stars to give it. It was interesting, and there were some interesting characters and scenes and whatnot, but also, yeah, it was a little much. Then there's the drama Lost in the Shadows, which I watched from July 7th to July 12th. The end of this drama made me so mad I ranted to my sister about it for probably at least 20 minutes. There's 16 episodes in it. It started dragging. It could have easily been 14 episodes, not 16. The flashbacks to the past were way too frequent, and probably half to at least 1/3, if not a full half, were unnecessary, and they got very repetitive because they started showing the same thing times 2, times 3, times 4, times etc. And then there is the bad guy getting suspended execution after the murder that the bad guy committed ended up being that brutal. Like, that murder was actually so brutal, my jaw actually dropped. I'm like, that is what happened to that poor kid? Oh my gosh, I'm kind of speechless. And the person that did that gets a suspended execution. People that did, it kind of feels like less, got like basically executed right away or got whatever, and yet his... Anyway, with spoilers, and I'm trying not to like stop trying to make me feel sympathetic for someone who is not sorry no matter how many times they repeat it. There was no love for anyone but themselves involved in this. And then there is the ending. To say, spoiler here, 100 hints and parallels to say that Zhao Qi is Dodo, but this is a dedicated to real life situations, i.e. missing people, so just like every dedicated to, it must end with the tragic hero intact. Wang has to remain searching for his son for the rest of his life. If that's what you're going to do, then don't hint. Okay, I left a comment on this one on iQIYI, but they don't give you much room for a comment on there, so I couldn't really explain myself. This is actually a nasty thing to do when they do it this way, these dedicated to real life stories, they're trying to like show you what it's like in real life and make you have sympathy and understand that everything doesn't always turn out good. There's actually a lot of tragedy and a lot of unwrapped up events and a lot of whatever. And this is what they're trying to show and all that, which is fine. It's just really annoying when every single one of them does this. You could wrap it up with a happy ending because sometimes real life does have happy endings. You don't always have to leave it unresolved or tragic. This one in particular, they're actually putting incredibly unfair, nasty pressure on people with the ending this one had. And what I mean by that, when they leave it to the point where for the entire rest of his life, through this drama, I can't even count how many times they told him, you will find him, you will find him, you will find him. I'm exhausted. I'm absolutely exhausted. Just hearing them say this, just hearing them do this, and this is the most frustrating aspect of the drama Lost in the Shadows. Like, you can't do that. Don't do that to people. Do not. You are not allowing them to breathe. You're not allowing them to rest. You're putting insane pressure on them. I'm positive when they did this drama, they were trying to keep it like, yeah, don't give up. Encouraging. It did not come across as encouraging to me. It came across as toxic and extremely exhausting. And it just made me mad in terms of story. Like, it's like these dramas, they love to do that. I mean, I think Korean dramas are possibly the worst for it. Where people are constantly just passing each other. Just not seeing each other. All these times in their life where they keep going like this. And it's like in Lost in the Shadows, they hinted so many times. There were so many parallels hinting that Xiao Qi is Dodo. So many hints. You're like 95% convinced by the end of the drama that it's him. But they flippin' won't just take the biological test to find out if they are biologically related. They just won't do it. The whole drama ends, and there's this scene at the end. I mean, other people apparently found it super touching and stuff, but I didn't. I was so frustrated and so annoyed that I was actually watching it in ×5 speed, or ×2 speed, you can't ×5 it. ×2 speed, whatever. I'm like, would you just get this done and get out of my face? I was so annoyed by the end of this drama. I'm sorry, but I was. I was really frustrated with it. Really frustrated. So, like, it was really well done in so many ways. And I mean, Xiaoqi and Shitu, there was at least twice where there was this banter thing going on and they started laughing, and I'm like, that felt so genuine. I think the actors almost forgot they were playing a story and the actors were just having that much fun with each other. It was so cute. There were a few different times I'm like, they had really good chemistry. But yeah, so it's worth watching. It's just, yeah, for those reasons it made me frustrated and mad. And then there was the drama Interlaced Scenes that I watched from the 15th to the 20th. And by the 20th, I mean it was 1:10 a.m. in July. And Interlaced Scene is 15 episodes long. What I wrote here was, it was too long because they went to the past way too much. And for things they did not need to go back for. I watched a lot of it in 1.25 or 2 times speed. What part did that murderer regret exactly? Because he made a lot of mistakes. Not just one, a lot of mistakes. And also, separate. Did the subs change for no reason? Or was she really saying separate, not divorce anymore? Because no matter how much I understand needing to step back to get your head on straight sometimes, that is not how marriage works. That is not what marriage is. That's not how you handle it when you all of a sudden realize, like, oh, who am I and what's going on? That's not how marriage works. Because they waited so long to respond, so much time in the past, the two main characters, Gongming and Shulo, got totally dumped. Like, for an extended period of time, you're like, where'd they go? We yoink off into the past to all of this stuff that doesn't matter. It's irrelevant by this point. You already told me this. I don't need to see this. I don't need to go through the whole drawn out, long process of watching it. I already know the gist of what happened. I know enough of what happened. Or if you want to show me, you could have shown me this much. You did not need to show me this much. It was insane. So, anyway, yeah, that one was, it was pretty well done. It was pretty good. But yeah, I was going to make that comment at one point. I made the video Tell No One in talking about backing up and going to the past and like how epically done that one was for the mixture between the past and the present and how well it did it. And then right after I watched that one basically is when I came across the Lost in the Shadows and Interlaced Scenes. And I'm like, this is obviously, there was a period of time where this was the thing to do. Spend half your drama in the past. And I'm like, wait, this is suddenly a trend and they're doing it over and over and over again? This is getting kind of old already. Really fast already. So anyway, Interlaced Scenes, yes, there was things about it. It was well done. Like, the main character was a girl, but I actually liked her. She was actually pretty level-headed and cool. And of course, Shiluo. This is the third thing, at least, that I've seen him as the main character on. Slight soft spot for him, right off the bat. Then after Interlaced Scenes, I was watching Strange Tales of Tang Dynasty and Love's Rebellion basically at the same time. Strange Tales of Tang Dynasty had a season 1 and a season 2. I watched season 1 on July 18th to August 11th, and season 2 from August 12th to August 22nd. And Love's Rebellion, I was kind of watching it as it was coming out. I wasn't caught up to where it was, so I was kind of sort of binge watching and hanging back a bit to kind of catch up to it, but not catch up to it. So I watched it August 6th to August 19th. I could do an entire video on Strange Tales of the Tang Dynasty. I would love to do an entire video on it. Love's Rebellion, I probably could too. So Love's Rebellion first, 36 episodes. It kind of frustrated me because there were several things about it I really liked. Like, really liked. A couple of things about it that I wasn't quite expecting it to do that, and I really liked it. And there's a lot of things that I didn't like at all. My notes in this book, there were so many notes that exploded out of me from episode 21 onwards. So this drama up to episode 21, there wasn't much about it that I was really complaining about. I was actually pretty much enjoying it. Then from 21 onwards, I had a ton to say. It got way too fragmented, then way too stupid. So many episodes made it start dragging before it finally ended. And that ending confused me. For once, she did not, spoilers, for once she did not have to wait hundreds of years, and it made it look like he wasn't even a reincarnation. Only 3 years? And when she said Jiang, he turned around and smiled huge, opened the umbrella, and stood there with her smiling, indicating it is her Jiang. He still remembers and he knows, and it's him, it's not whatever. But how did he do that? The first time he did that, it made sense because of the whole demon guy that was down there with him. But this time around, he's gone. How did he make himself a new body? How? He turned to ashes, they said. That got rid of his demon body. Yatta, win! But how did he build a new one / that looked like him? How? That made no sense. It confused me. The whole dragging on and on and on, by the way, part of that was because it was one of those things. I made a note in there, and this is really important. There are dramas, I really like it when they have like a gotcha moments where you think that the good guys have been caught and the bad guys are one-upping them and there's no way of escaping all that stuff, but it turns out that the good guys did see it coming and they totally had a plan and it's actually them trapping the bad guys. You're like, yes, for the win! However, there's really bad ways of doing that. where you honestly can't tell and characters are acting out of character, or it feels like they're acting out of character, or just everything just feels wrong, and you know that this can't possibly be right. Like, for instance, characters turning on their friends and stuff like that, and you're like, this cannot be real. It just makes you so mad and so frustrated and so whatever that they would do that. And then it turns out, no, they didn't. It was actually all a plot. Okay, the problem with this is, if that's going to be what's happening, that this is all just a plot and it's not real, there's only so long that you should be dragging that on. If you drag it on beyond that, before telling me, at the very least, that this is what's going on, you've gone on too long. There is a limit, and if you go beyond that amount of time, it's just angrifying, and I just want to skip the whole thing because this is just stupid. And the other part is the fact that way too many dramas take their characters out of character. They legit take them out of character, and it isn't just a ha-ha gotcha moment. It's no, this was really happening. They really did supposedly lose trust in them, or they backstab them, or whatever. They really did do that. And I'm like, that is completely out of character. And yet they apparently did it. So by this point, I've had so many characters be taken out of character to make it real, and I've had so many that it took 5 episodes instead of 2 to tell me that this was all just a plot. I've had both things happen too often. I'm just sick and tired of all of it. Sick and tired of all of it. In, what was that drama called that I dropped? Oh, Burning Flames. That one was one where they had a plot going on where it turns out, no, it was all just a trap to trap the bad guy. And I'm like, it didn't work in that one because they're claiming that it was all just a trap. And I'm like, no, I'm believing this one because this is her. But you're claiming that's not her. This is what she's really like. She actually did believe in him. I'm like, false, because throughout the entire drama, this has been what's real, not that. And now you're telling me that's true and this is just fake. Not accurate. This is not working. And then in Strange Tales, which we'll get back to, they had a case where I'm like, this one really should be an aha gotcha moment. This was all just an act. But it turns out, no, he was being out of character. It wasn't a gotcha moment. It actually was a he's completely being out of character right now moment. And then there's Love's Rebellion, which I'm pretty sure they're claiming that it was just a gotcha. It was all just a plot. But they carried it on for way too long. It dragged. I was so sick and tired of it. So sick and tired of it. And it was also extremely fragmented because, the Dragon Lord guy, the Mu Ting, I liked him. He was cool in many ways, but the way the whole drama used him, he got really annoying. Because, he's one of those ones where he's constantly, his magic looks super cool, but it turns out, no matter how far you go in the drama, it's completely useless. Even when he supposedly did power up, he is never given an opportunity to use it, because back here, when his opponents are at this level, he's down here at this level, and then over here, when his opponents are at this level, he's at this level, and, he's just always way behind everybody else. So he literally never gets a moment to shine. What did you give him magic that looked really cool for? It's just stupid. And his part of the story was so entirely disconnected that he became completely useless, completely distracting. I basically wanted to completely skip. I just watched it ×2 speed, most of the stuff that had him in it, because I'm like, he's got absolutely nothing to do with anything. There's this story happening over here, and there's this story happening over here, and they've got literally nothing to do with each other. Until way later, when they finally kind of connect again, and then they go back like this again, where they're a little more closely related, but they're still kind of sort of have nothing to do with each other. That was frustrating, because there were parts of the story where he was super useful, and it's a good thing he was there, and all this stuff, and it's not like I hated him, but at the same time, I'm like, this story is just dragging, because his story is just adding runtime, and it's got nothing to do with anything. However, I have to say, I absolutely adored Yinya. He was so cool and so cute, and his loyalty to Nanyan, and then, seriously, his and Jiyoung's relationship, the way their relationship was built up in this story, oh my gosh, was that ever amazingly well done. It was so cool because they started off by hating each other. They were like enemies. It was never going to work and all this stuff. And then because of Nan Yan and because of Yin Ya's loyalty and respect and love for Nan Yan, he came over here and was doing this. And then because he was doing that, he got to know Jiang. Oh my gosh, I love their relationship building. Those two, Jiang and Yinya, that was epic. Yinya is the coolest, sweetest, cutest character. I loved him. Okay, and then even Nanyan, yeah. Shockingly, I actually did like her too, for the most part. I kind of thought it was going to turn into those ones where all of a sudden now she's the powerful one instead. It is beyond, like, description. I don't have words to describe how sick I am of these dramas where it starts out the guy's power level is here and the girl's power level is here, and by the end of the drama it's like this. Like, in other words, if his power is 50 and hers is 5, by the end of the drama, hers is 150 and his is maybe 10. Like, it doesn't even come like this. It doesn't even come like this. It's like this. Like, it is through the roof how often the girls are overpowered. And they find the stupidest, most convenient, whatever ways that take pretty much all of the male's power away from him. And he's this helpless little whatever that's being protected by the girl in the end because she's insanely overpowered. I'm like, I'm so sick of this. So beyond sick of it. And that's what it looked like this one was starting to do. But thankfully, whether you count this as a spoiler or not, thankfully that's not what happened in this one. Thankfully. Even when she did all of a sudden get all this power and all this whatnot and stuff in the middle of it, her character did change. I like her better as a doctor. She was cute and quirky and unique as a doctor. And then she got cultivation power, and all of a sudden she melts into this pot of everybody's exactly the same. Like, it's incredible how many times that happens too. Someone is unique and outside of the box thinker. Like, which one was that? Where, it was 1,000 Years for You. In 1,000 Years for You, where she was unique and interesting and cool until she got the cultivation power, and then every single situation she handled it all exactly the same. It looked the same, it felt the same, it sounded the same. It was just not unique, not cool, not interesting. It got super repetitive and super boring. Why do they all do that? Why do they all do that? Yeah. But anyway, the cute thing about Love's Rebellion was like the whole first part where they're all bonding, and then like the whole second part where Nanyan and Yin are falling in love again. That was cute. And then where all the episodes were dragged. It was super, super, super annoying. And then all of that finally ended, and it got around to the wrap-up stuff, and it was cool again. So anyway, for a very little bit of time there, basically when Nanyan and Yin were falling in love again, there was a section where I kind of felt like I was reading Lord of the Rings again. Where, like, in Lord of the Rings, you're following these characters, and then all of a sudden, in the middle of everything, you go over to these characters, you're like, no, I don't want to go to these characters, what's happening over here? And then it takes long enough with these guys that you get all hooked into what they're doing, and you're like, ooh, this is getting really, and all of a sudden goes over here, and you're like, but no, I don't want to go back to these guys. Oh, wait, they were in the middle of something over here. Oh, yeah, now I remember. And you get all into these guys, and all of a sudden goes back, and you're like, and for a little while, that's what Love's Rebellion was doing. You're like, what the crap? I was in the middle of Yin and Nanyan. Why am I going over here to Yin Yan? And their names are way too similar. Anyway, I called them the little fox and the dragon guy throughout the whole thing. Anyway, that was Love's Rebellion. It is definitely worth watching, but at the same time, those things about it frustrated me. And yeah, I didn't like her mother at all, by the way. I hate that type of character. Everybody loves her because she's so beautiful and because she's so carefree. I'm like, no, she's insanely through the roof self-centered. Like, disgustingly self-centered. And extremely disrespectful. Just get out of here. Can't stand her mother. Cannot stand her. And there's plenty of other stuff. Like, do not get me started on the religion in that one. So So anyway, and then there's the random drama Lesson in Love. Super random. Watched from August 27th to September 3rd, but there is far too much to say about that one. It goes very deeply into a lot of deep topics that it's just impossible to just lightly touch on. So I'll just mention the fact that I watched that one recently and finished it recently, but stop there. Also, I'm getting really tired of talking, but Strange Tales of Tang Dynasty 1 and 2. I am so frustrated with this one. I would actually like to do a separate video on this one because there is so much in it. Because, like, season 1 is 36 episodes and season 2 is 40 episodes, and it's not done. Just as an FYI warning, I did not know when I started, Strange Tales 2 started coming out, and I went, hey, since the second season's coming out, and now that I do know the actor Yang Xu Wen, maybe I will watch this one. And also, I found out that, like, I don't know where the Detective D comes from. I can't remember right now if there is actually a book about him, or a series of books about him or something. But, like, it is a huge name. There's, like, it is shocking how many dramas and movies there are centered on that character. And in this story, in any story I looked up of Direnjie, I don't remember, I didn't find any of them mentioning a character named Su Yiming. But in this story, they claim that he is a disciple of Detective D. So that right there, the fact that he's a disciple of Detective D, and the actor Yang Xu Wen playing Lu Lingfeng, those are the two reasons that I decided to watch it. So because season 2 was coming out, I decided to go and watch season 1 and then watch season 2, not realizing that season 2 was going to end on a cliffhanger. Thanks a lot. Now I feel like I'm in the middle of something and there's absolutely nothing I can do about it because season 3 does not exist. And considering it took 2 years for season 2 to come out, will there be a season 3 2 years from now? In 2026, will we finally get a season 3? And will that one actually end, or is it also going to end in a cliffhanger? Who knows? So yeah, I had lots and lots of notes in here, mainly about season 2. I can't remember if I took any on season 1, but all I wrote in here in the short form version for season 1, I hate Ying Tao. I love the name Ying Tao, but I hate that character. She destroyed the perfect dynamics that the main group had going. Her personality is so self-absorbed. She is so self-righteous. She does not fit with them at all. But the drama decided to have Wu Ming fall in love with her. And I am so mad. This is all in capitals, all circled in red. Like, I am so mad. I hate her so much. But she's in season 2 because she's a couple with Sumi. Apart from her, I don't know what I was trying to say there. Messed up royal family turns out far more so far at the princess. Oh, in other words, the princess is far more messed up than anybody else. The entire royal family is messed up. The prince, everybody, like the crown prince, everything is so messed up. All of them are so messed up, but apparently the princess is the most messed up of all. And yet, the plot twist Ling Feng doesn't know about yet. Oh, some of those cases were irritating the eye roll. The alligators and the bear, like, headball. The way they treated the animals in this drama, they got more and more and more unrealistic. Incredibly unrealistic. But I squealed so hard. I loved Ling Feng. His fighting skills were, like, through the roof. Absolute favorite thing about this drama. Ling Feng's fighting. Oh my gosh, the choreography of his fights, what he does, how he does it, like pretty much every single fight, I had to rewind it and watch it 2 to 3 to 4 times over and over and over again because his fights are so cool. So cool. And Ling Feng and Jijun are so cute. Jijun, by the way, another girl that I absolutely love. The further it went, the more I loved her. I love Jijun. So see, it's not just because Ying Tao is a girl that I absolutely hate and despise her. No, because Jijun is also a girl and I absolutely adore her. And Juhan, the kid, I loved him too. So then Strange Tales 2, my notes. Many notes in book 8. This book over here. I still hate and despise Ying Tao and want to throw up every time the drama claims that she and Wu Ming are romantically attracted. It is disgusting to me. Like, really gross to me because their personalities, in my opinion, do not match. The whole fact that they are a couple doesn't work. It's like legit the only reason they're a couple is because whoever wrote the story decided that they can't have Ling Feng in a relationship with Zhu Jun and leave poor Wu Ming all by himself, so we have to bring in somebody to be a couple with him. So quick, let's grab Ying Tao and have them. They don't work together. They do not match together. It is absurd. Plus, there's an age gap between them, so it's like, ew. Like, the older you are, the less an age gap matters, and I know several people, like in real life, I've met people where there's a pretty significant age gap between them, but they are a really good couple. They're like really sweet together, or they match really well. Like, it worked for them. Like, it was really good. It is possible. And the older I get, the age gap matters less to me because I think in general it matters less because you get more mature, you've been through more in life, the age gap doesn't matter. However, when someone is really young, it does still matter. Like, I mean, if you had I can't remember how much of an age gap would be between Ying Tao and Wu Ming, but if you said, just say 15 years, that would be, if the guy is 25, that makes the girl 10. Can you see where there's a problem here? Then if the guy is 35, that still makes her 20. There's not as much of a problem here. But there's still a problem here. When you're 20, even though you're an adult now, you're still kind of at a vulnerable point in your life where you're still trying to figure out what being an adult is. You've only kind of just left the years where you're very hormonal and your body is literally physically changing, mentally and physically changing on you. Depending who you are, some people mature a lot faster than others and it's less of a problem. Some people are 16 and they're ready for marriage. These days, not very common that that's going to happen anymore. But like, I am a firm believer that the younger you are, the more of a problem big age gaps are. And it's not until you're a little later in life where it's going to matter less. And like, Ying Tao is too young, too self-absorbed, too hot-headed, too whatever. She isn't ready for a relationship with anybody. Never mind someone that is like almost old enough to be her dad. Like, that's a bit of an exaggeration because he's not actually old enough to be her dad, but it's close enough that it's just disturbing. So there's the age gap, but they're also just the personality. Her, period. I hate her all on her own. And then her personality with his personality doesn't work. And then also the age gap. So just, and the reasoning of the story, because there's literally no reason for him to be in a relationship with somebody. He does not need to be. For some reason, whoever made this drama decided that he needed to have a relationship with somebody because it just... Ling Fang gets one, so does Wu Ming need one too? No, he didn't. It actually would have worked better if you left him by himself. It is just really stupid to stick him with someone. It was pointless, it was needless, it was stupid. Ying Tao herself is one of the most useless, pointless, stupid characters I've ever seen in my life. And if you want all the details, I have proof. I have all these kinds of... Like I said, this one should be a video all by itself. That reunion between Zhuhan and Ling Fang was so cute. Because, yeah, that's another reason why I hate Yang Tao, because her character came into the story and Zhu Huan got booted out. Zhu Huan had a point. He was extremely useful. He was growing. He was cool. He was unique. He added a distinct flavor to the whole dynamic of everything because of his age and because of the role he played in this group. And then Yang Tao came along and he left the story and he was gone for an extended period of time. And I was so upset and so mad. Yeah. And again, man, I love watching Li Yi Tong fight. He is so freaking good at it. That coordination every fight, like I said, 2 to 3 times at least. And I love Jijun, and she and Ling Fong are so cute! Sadly, I lost a ton of like for Wu Ming when Ying Tao came into the picture, and is the way she is, and he is 100% fine with that, even though he's not okay with anybody else acting the way she acts. So yeah, that's the short version of what I thought of Strange Tales of the Tang Dynasty. There's tons more I could say about that, tons more I'd like to say about it. I want to watch it again, but at the same time, I don't really want to watch it again. I want to watch Ling Bong again, and some of the others again. So, a whole separate video for that one. That's one of the big things I'm trying to get over watching that one. Like, everything is... after watching that one. Okay. So... I wanted to go through these ones that I dropped, because some of them, I think, are also having a bearing on trying to process things and can't move on because I'm trying to process, but at the same time I'm pushing myself to move on and not letting myself process. That's not very helpful. But I don't know how to process, because I have lots of notes in here about all of them. But to go through all of them, I don't know if anybody wants details on them. The short version is, okay, there was Moon Love, and there was the Fragments of Kylin. Moon Love I watched between June 29th and July 2nd, and Fragments of Kylin was August 25th and August 25th was when I dropped it. And both of them I dropped for the same reason. They are both the same genre of story. They're both the same type of story, the same kind of story, the same... like, they could have been written by the same people. They're very simple, very straightforward. Their point is the romance, whatever. All the rest of it is just fluff. It's got nothing to do with anything. The point is the two falling in love and whatever. The problem is that they're extremely repetitious and extremely boring to me. They're way too predictable to me. Sometimes that's what you need. Sometimes that's your whole point in watching the dramas, because it's predictable and you know exactly what's coming and all that stuff. I get that. I'm not saying that either one of these were bad. They just clearly are not my kind of drama in the slightest. I forget how many. I didn't write there. I was about halfway through episode 11 of Moon Love, and I was like halfway through the drama of Fragments of Kylin, 12 episodes out of 24. But they were both, in my opinion, they both started dragging. There was not enough story for them to last as long as they were lasting. So yeah, I dropped them both. And then you have The Legend of the Condor Heroes and Love in Time, both of which I started because of that actor who's currently on the background, so distracting me, the actor from The Strange Tales. I have finished Noble Aspirations, Eternal Brotherhood, and Strange Tales of Tang Dynasty are the 3 of his that I've finished, and Legend of Condor Heroes and Love in Time are the 2 that I couldn't finish with him in it. Why could I not finish them? Legend of Condor Heroes, it was like, I just barely started episode 11 out of 52, and I just could not do it because of everybody else. In just short form nutshell of it, I have come to discover that if a character is capable of martial arts, even though it's ridiculously unrealistic, martial arts in general are ridiculously unrealistic. However, Strange Tale of Tang Dynasty is a good example of that. Ling Feng is a martial artist. It is epic watching him fight. That I absolutely love when that is in a drama, when they can fight like that. He is epic in that one, his capabilities. However, when the entire drama is centered on and focused on and about the martial arts world, I can't stand it. I literally cannot stand it. I didn't realize that was what the difference was. I'd have to go back now and see how many dramas I've seen that are actually like that. Like the difference between martial arts being in the drama and the drama being about the martial art world. I can't stand the martial arts world. The more I learn about it, the more I hate it with such a passion that I'm like, don't even bring that near me. You'd have to pay me way more than anybody could afford to watch any more of that. Get it away from me. They are like indescribably arrogant. Like indescribably arrogant and self-centered. I can't. And they have no logic. Any logic they have is completely illogical. Like it's 100% based on who has the strongest power. And they're always looking down on people going, you are so arrogant. How dare you be arrogant? And I'm like, and they are nowhere near as arrogant as you are. And yet it's fine that you're arrogant. I can't. Cannot watch it because of his masters. Most self-centered, idiotic people I've ever seen. That whole group of masters in Legend of, I have never seen a stupider group of people in a martial arts drama, apart from perhaps bad guys, and they're supposed to be good guys. I'm floored. I could not stomach any more of that one. And yeah, by the way, just because the picture came on my background, I forgot to say that about Legend of Condor heroes. The people in the past and the screwed over characters. The only good character, the only one that actually was a hero, Legend of Condor heroes. I am so sick and tired of characters getting called heroes when they're not heroes. If you're in a righteous sect, if you're on the righteous path, you're automatically called a hero or a heroine. I'm like, I have a specific way that those terms are defined. Like, firefighters are heroes. EMTs are heroes. Doctors are heroes. People that put their life on the line and actually save people and all the rest of that kind of stuff are heroes. These characters in these dramas that are insanely self-absorbed and are literally only doing something for their own self-gain, that's not a hero. Do not call them a hero. They are not heroes. So basically, the only character in this drama that actually was a hero got so screwed over. So screwed over. And then that's what ended up happening with him. And I'm like, yeah, I'm done. And then Love in Time. I had so many angry notes about that one. I was actually to the point of wanting to cry. I was so angry and upset when she literally lives in the past. He is the one in the future. And yet when he tries to get her help to meet up with a friend that he has been friends with for over 10 years, she up and decides to be possessive and decides that she's the one that knows what's going on and she's the one that's going to protect this girl, etc., and won't let him near her, won't let him talk because he's lying, he doesn't know what he's talking about. I'm like, he's the one in the future and he is her friend. You are not, and you are in the past. What is this? That was the final straw. Like, I couldn't take it anymore after she did that. Like, I couldn't stand her. I absolutely hated her. I have lots of notes. I wanted to keep watching that one. Like, detangling myself from that one was like trying to pull yourself out of a giant sticky spider web. Like, I couldn't get it off myself. It was too late at night. I needed to go to bed, and yet I kept looking. I skipped forward to see if there was any way that I could keep watching that one because I really wanted to, because I really liked him. And there were certain things about it, like that actor, there was more than one spot where I'm like, this is epic. That reaction was perfect. That was so well done. The first few episodes. But like, I was near the end of the 6th episode out of 24 episodes when I dropped it, and I couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't because of her. She destroyed the whole story. Her character cannot. She is one of the top 5 most hated female characters. Possibly one of the most top 3 hated female characters. I cannot with her type. I cannot. She is so violent. She is so hypocritical. You can't get more hypocritical than she is. And she's so violent. She's supposed to be a reporter, and she's supposed to be proud of how good she is at reporting, and yet she is the worst reporter I've ever seen in my life. When it comes to him, there is no investigating, no questions. She jumps to conclusions every time based on nothing. She doesn't even have anything good to base it on. She just jumps to this conclusion because she is incredibly through the roof biased. And that's all she can see is her bias. I hate her. And then, after all that, there's the drama that I started watching from June 23rd to June 29th, and I was at the 8-minute and 23-second mark into episode 17, and then I looked ahead at episode 35 and 36 of it, and I can't. For one thing, I have never watched more of a drama on mute than I did that one. It's called Bloody Romance. It's this one here. That drama messed me up. It's a dark fantasy, I believe, is what it's called. And given what that one was like, I am not sure if I have ever seen a dark fantasy before, because I don't remember any other drama doing what that one did to me. I was forced to watch it on mute because there is very little, there is almost no music in that drama. Almost no music. It is all that mindful sound stuff with these frequencies just humming in your ear. And I hated it so much. I cannot stand those sounds. Like, different frequencies, different people react differently to different frequencies. And, like, some people can't stand the higher it is, and some people can't stand the lower it is. But yeah, everybody has certain frequencies that are okay, and other ones that just make their entire body go like that. And, like, almost any of them, even ones that are okay, if you keep it going long enough, I can't stand it anymore. I'm like, just shut up. This is like pure torture. And that's what was prevalent in that one, like. And then there was this one instrument, I think. I don't think it's the stringed one. I think it's a type of flute or something, if I'm remembering correctly. I didn't find the notes about it. But anyway, those were the things. And I was like, stop it right now. I had to put it on mute and just read subtitles. I couldn't even hear their voices because I had to mute it because I could not stand the sound. It's not music. It was sounds. And I could not stand it, and I had to mute it. And so I know I've heard before that, like, horror movies and stuff like that, they specifically on purpose use certain tones and certain music because it's been scientifically proven that elicits certain reactions from humans. Our bodies naturally react certain ways to certain sounds, and it's been proven, so they specifically do that in horror movies in order to get you on the edge of the seat. So I know that those kind of sounds do certain things, and they make you uncomfortable, and they make you screen crawl and whatnot. I'm sure they were doing it on purpose in that drama, in Bloody Romance, but that's obviously not what left me feeling like this, considering I watched it on mute. Most of it on mute. So that's not what it was. It was that main guy and everything that they were putting him through and the descriptions of what they did, the torture they inflicted on people, how they tortured people, what they did. There's a whole lot of that. I don't know if it's actually possible for human beings to live through that, to survive through that, to the dark fantasy world. If that's dark fantasy, yeah, I ain't going anywhere near it. That goes too far. That goes through too far. There's a book that I read, the Night something. I'm gonna have to put it up here because I don't remember the name of it, and it's all the way out there in the other room. That I'm pretty sure that's also dark fantasy, and they were very similar feeling. It was a book, so I was reading it versus this is something I was watching. Maybe it's because it was watching versus reading. Or maybe it was literally, I'm pretty sure that 90% of it is just that male character, and his pure gentleness, his innocence, his, like, he's so gentle and so soft and so quiet. And so, like, because he's like that, after everything he's experiencing, everything that's around him, everything that's done to him, etc., and yet he remains like that, that it's just like, my gosh, oh, whoa, and yeah, I didn't realize the drama was going to end like that. Like, spoilers, with everything that happens to him. And yeah, that girl, I didn't mind her at first, and I kind of liked her, but at the same time, my gosh, the self-centeredness of her, like, you know perfectly well what this world is like. You've been told, and you've seen it. And you know perfectly well that it is forbidden for you and him to be in a relationship. And yet there was more than once where it's like, she thinks it's funny to romantically tease him and be in his face and try to get a reaction out of him, when any second now you could be seen, and you're not just gonna die for this, you're going to be viciously tortured. And yet she continues to do it. I'm like, what is wrong with you, girl? You are messed up. What are you doing? Whew. Plus, that's the only drama I have ever seen where they give a character a background and then do nothing with it. Because I don't know if you consider it a spoiler or not. Like I say, I think it was episode 11 that I was in when I dropped it, and I forget how long it was. I already closed my book. But the identity of that guy, who it turns out he actually is, because of course he's not just a stable boy. But unless she was lying, that girl, when she told him the identity of who he actually is, this is the first drama I've seen where apparently nothing is done with that. Given how the story ends, what happens to him in the end of the story, that identity does nothing. Why did they even give him that identity? Because the part of the story that I didn't watch would have been the part of the story that it was in, I guess. But like, yeah, that ending is messed up. I don't understand how it got to that point. I cannot do it. I literally can't watch it. When that is how it ends, I was already starting to hate her. She ended up crossing the line into hating her because of everything that she was doing, and it was just what she was doing to him, what she was doing to him. I forgot that. See, there's enough that I forgot. There are so many notes. If you want a full-on video about this one, I could do it. But like, her, because of what she went through, the torture that she went through, I get it. It's understandable, but at the same time, the way she turned that around on him, and she's like, detailing, this is what happened to me, this is how it happened, this and this and this and this and this. Now, I dare you to explain why I had to experience that. Because it's entirely his fault, because he didn't come save her. He had a very, very good reason. It was not his fault that he couldn't come save her. It was not his fault at all. It was one of the best reasons I have ever seen. He could not come and save her. He was incapable of it. And yet, that does not matter to her. She was so focused on herself, so focused on the fact that he betrayed her, that like it came to the point where it's like, okay, what happened? No, she doesn't want to know what happened. She wants him to live in misery because she went through something and she thinks that he should go through it too, because it doesn't matter why he didn't come. The point is that he didn't come, so now he must suffer. And that's the point it was at. That was what she was doing, and that was, I mean, like, I couldn't stand her anymore. I couldn't take her anymore. I hated her by this point. And then I find out that that's how it ends. I'm like, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Not watching any more of that drama. So, yeah. That was a whole lot of rambling to work out maybe a bunch of stuff that's been hanging over my head and I don't know what to do with it. The short version of everything. And this is a really, really long video because it was the short version of many different dramas. and I am like really tired again. I got super tired, and then I got a little bit of energy and started doing this, and then while doing this, I am so tired again. But there you go. Whatever I end up doing with that one, that is now done. Let me know what you think. If any of those dramas, if you want a better explanation, if you don't like what I said and you want a fuller explanation for why I said that, or if I made you interested in any of them and you'd like to watch it, but you want a little more detail before you watched it, for whatever reason. There is so much more. Bloody romance is definitely one of the ones that I've been trying to process, but I don't know how to process because that is just too much. And then, like, yeah, some of those ones that I dropped are like, I didn't really want to drop it, but I couldn't take it anymore. And then, right now I'm currently in the middle of the drama Go East. And for the first 6 episodes of that one, I came so close to dropping it because the characters made me so mad. However, then there was an actual legit apology scene, and it was one of the best apology scenes. There were several scenes in there where I need to make a whole different video just focusing on that because it was some of the best script, the best acting, the best everything about this. This is exactly what I'm talking about in all of the dramas I have ever complained about when I say that is not an apology, this is not okay, this just got swept aside, this was not dealt with and it needed to be dealt with, etc., etc. That was all wrong. And because that was all wrong, I hate that character for the rest of the drama, or I hate the entire drama for the rest of the drama. I either dropped the entire drama or I managed to finish it, but I hated it because of this happening and not being dealt with. This drama here, Go East, these scenes, this apology, that is what I'm talking about. That is the right way to do it. That is everything right. Oh, it was brilliant. Oh, it was so touching. It was so good. So good. That's what I'm talking about. And these 2 characters have been beyond description. Oh my gosh, you two, ever since then. Oh, it's beautiful. Oh, it's beautiful. I need to do a whole different thing just on that. And I'm not done the drama yet, so I don't know the rest of it. It's currently ongoing. I am currently 3 minutes and 43 seconds into episode 16. And as of today, there have been 27 episodes released, and there's 36, I think it is, total. 36 or 37 total episodes of that one. This is one of the many dramas that I've been waiting for a long time for, and it finally started airing. Yes! Tan! And it's the first period drama that I am watching that I didn't have to drop because he isn't getting screwed over. I went through them. When it's a modern day drama, he has a pretty good drama. I mean, his character has a pretty good life. Even if he goes through some hardships, it all wraps up pretty good. But in like every single one of his ancient dramas or costume dramas or whatever you want to call them, he gets royally screwed over like every time. So, this is the first costume one. So far, at least. Unless this turns really sour again, in which case I'm going to explode. Because I already almost dropped it because it was so bad. And then there was that turnaround, and it has been so good since then that if he does get royally screwed over, I will have no words left. So anyway, all of that later. If you want to make any comments, or if you want to know more, please interact and let me know, and I will do more. I would like to do something more on Strange Tales, but now I don't know if I need to or not. Like, if you want to know why I hate Ying Tao, like, when I say a useless character, like, I don't think I've actually specifically used those words before. A useless character. She is pointless. She is so useless. So pointless. Like, legit, I am not exaggerating. She is so pointless. And if you want to know what I mean by that and the whole explanation for it and stuff like that, let me know. And I will explain myself. Whatever I do with this, however much of that I keep and put up and whatever. Thanks for watching. Bye.